Hey, this is Jordan from Meadowbrook Magic, and today we're doing a deck tech on Bug Speaker. As the name suggests, it is a blue-black-green deck that utilizes Prime Speaker Zanga. The deck itself is a mid-range deck that tries to make its creatures as large as possible by adding as many +1/+1 counters to them as it can. It does this through the use of Corpsejack Menace, which the deck runs 3 of. Corpsejack Menace doubles the amount of +1/+1 counters whenever they're added to your creatures. It offers great synergy and support for the 3 Desecration Demons, 2 Prime Speaker Zangas, and 3 Primordial Hydras that the deck runs. Primordial Hydra already doubles the amount of counters on it at the beginning of each upkeep. With Corpsejack Menace, that means you're getting 4 times the amount of counter, making it a very large threat that your opponent has to deal with. Desecration Demon, on the other hand, offers a 6/6 flying body for only 4 mana. This is important because it will activate your Prime Speaker Zanga on turn 6 with 6 +1/+1 counters, or 12 if you have a Corpsejack Menace out. It also affects your opponent's board state by giving them a difficult decision on whether or not they want to sacrifice a creature. This decision is made even harder if there's a Corpsejack Menace behind your Desecration Demon. Prime Speaker Zanga, though, is really the all-star of this deck and combos brilliantly with Corpsejack Menace. It enters the battlefield with +1/+1 counters equal to the largest power among the creatures you control. And you get to draw cards equal to the power and toughness of Prime Speaker Zanga when it enters the battlefield. With Corpsejack Menace, you have the chance of drawing a ridiculous amount of cards and having a huge body on Prime Speaker Zanga. This makes this combo overall the entire reason for playing the deck. The deck also utilizes 3 Thragtusks and 3 Dreg Manglers. The reason for the Thragtusk is they're very useful in a utility card. They offer 5 life, which is relevant for an aggro matchup, as well as a body after a board wipe, which is relevant in a control matchup. Dreg Mangler helps to fill out the curve and is irrelevant in aggro matchups. The deck also runs 4 Farseeks to help balance out the mana and to get your creatures out as soon as possible. The deck is also supported by 15 instances. It runs 3 Abrupt Decays, 2 Tributes to Hunger, and 2 Ultimate Price on the removal side. Ultimate Price and Abrupt Decay are useful removal, and Tribute to Hunger is helpful for creatures that are hexproof or indestructible. Falconwrath Aristocrat. In addition to that, it also offers protection to its own cards with 3 Dissipates and 3 Simic Charms. Simic Charm can also be used as removal if need be. The deck also tries to get a little combo-y with 2 Bioshifts to move counters from one creature to another creature while you have a Corpsejack Menace out to make the amount of counters that you have on your creatures overall double. The land bases for this deck include 3 of each of the relevant shock lands, being Breeding Pool, Overgrown Tomb, and Watery Grave. In addition to this, we run 3 Drowned Catacombs, 3 Hinterland Harbors, and 3 Woodland Cemeteries. This is rounded out by 2 forests, 1 island, and 1 swamp. It also runs the utility lands of 1 Alchemist Refuge and 1 Reliquary Tower. The reason for the Reliquary Tower is not to waste any of the cards that you draw off of massive combos with Corpsejack Menace and Prime Speaker Zanga. It also doesn't run more shock lands because we don't want to take any more damage from our lands than we have to. Moving on to the sideboard, we have 1 Pithing Needle for cards like Door to Nothingness and Planeswalkers, 1 Acidic Slime which answers a number of different cards, 2 Deathrite Shamans to prevent your opponent from doing any graveyard shenanigans, 2 Vampire Nighthawks for that aggro matchup, 2 Triumphs of Cruelty, which are very useful in control matchups, especially against Esper control, 1 Essence Scatter for creature-heavy decks, 2 Rewinds, again for the control matchup, 2 Tragic Slips to answer Falconwrath Aristocrat, and 2 Duresses, again for the control matchup. I've had a lot of fun building this deck, and I've been very excited to utilize Prime Speaker Zanga as well as the combination with Corpsejack Menace. I was even more excited when playtesting it and seeing it actually run successfully. I would keep the overall direction of the deck if I was to work on it some more. Changes that I would consider would be making the deck slightly more black heavy to support Victim of the Night over Ultimate Price. I may also remove Tribute to Hunger for Devouring Flesh to be a little bit more mana efficient. I may also consider the addition of a Planeswalker to add something to the board that isn't susceptible to board wipe. I may do this by adding either Groot the Relentless or Liliana the Veils at the cost of either Primordial Hydras or the Tribute to Hungers or Devouring Flesh, whichever I choose to keep in at the time. Overall, I think this deck is really fun and you should try it out. If you've enjoyed this deck tech, you can look for our podcast. The link will be in the description below.